The theft the twin suns were setting behind the sharp black mountains of Zareth 5. The sky turned red, then purple, and shadows stretched across the broken streets. It was a dead city now, silent, ruined, and forgotten. But something moved in, the dark. Jackson walked alone through the alien marketplace. He was a human explorer, tall, rough, and tired. His boots crunched over broken glass and metal. He held a small scanner in one hand and a heavy pack on his back. He spoke to himself. No life signs, no signal, just more dust. He reached an old food stall. Rust covered the metal. Still, he checked it for supplies. He took out a ration bar from his bag and unwrapped it slowly. Then, whoosh, a blur passed him. A hand grabbed the ration bar and disappeared behind the stall. Jackson blinked. What the... He turned fast and saw something small running away. A child, not human. Thin legs, green-gray skin, and a long, spiny tail. A starving alien child. Jackson's eyes narrowed. He didn't feel anger. He felt confused. Hey! Wait! The child ran fast, weaving through collapsed walls and old market tents. Jackson followed. He wasn't sure why. Maybe instinct, maybe curiosity, or maybe something deeper. He chased the child through narrow streets. The ground shook under his boots. The city felt alive again. Not with people, but with memory. The child dashed into a broken building. Jackson stopped outside, breathing hard. It was quiet. He walked in slowly. Inside, it was dark. Broken walls, faded lights, and shattered furniture. Jackson stepped carefully. His flashlight showed dirty floors and empty shelves. Then he saw them. The alien child sat beside a weak figure, an adult alien female. She lay on the floor, eyes closed, breathing shallow. Her skin looked dry, her hands shaking. The child was trying to feed her the stolen ration. Jackson stood still. This wasn't just a thief. This was a son trying to save his mother. His heart beat faster. His fingers loosened. The flashlight dropped slightly in his hand. He wasn't stealing for himself. The child looked up. His large eyes glowed in the dark. He saw Jackson but didn't run. He looked scared, but also tired. Very tired. Jackson slowly took off his backpack. He knelt and placed 2 more ration bars on the ground. The child didn't move. Jackson stood up and stepped back. Then he left the building. He stood outside looking at the stars. His hands were in his jacket pockets. How long have they been hiding here? Why is no one helping them? Where are the others? He sat on a rock. His scanner beeped softly. Still no signs of other life. Later that night, Jackson returned. Quietly, carefully, he peeked inside. The child was sleeping next to his mother. She was still breathing, but barely. Jackson left water and a blanket near the door. He turned to go. Then he heard a whisper, a voice, weak, female, alien, soft. Help, my son. He froze. He turned around. The alien mother was awake. Her hand stretched weakly toward him. Her eyes were filled with fear and hope. Please. Jackson knelt beside her. She pointed at her child. They will come. They will take him. Who? Jackson asked. She shook her head. Humans. Jackson's heart sank. He looked at the child. His face was peaceful in sleep. He looked back at the mother. I'm human, he said quietly. She looked at him. For a long second, then she smiled. Just a little. Not like them. Jackson nodded. He stood up and looked outside again. The red moons were rising now. He checked his scanner one last time. Ping. This time, it showed movement. A ship. Coming close. Too close. The silent plea. The night on Zareth 5 was colder than before. Red moons hung low in the sky like watching eyes. The wind carried the sound of broken metal, whispering across empty streets. Jackson sat beside a broken wall, eyes wide open, heart heavy. He could not sleep. Inside the old shelter, the alien mother was dying. Her son, small, thin, scared, lay beside her, holding her hand. He didn't cry, he didn't make a sound, but his silence was loud, screamed. In the morning, Jackson returned. He walked slowly, carrying a small kit, first aid, food, clean water. He didn't know if it would help, but it was all he had. The child saw him and stood up quickly. His body tensed, eyes wide, like a cornered animal. Jackson knelt and opened the bag. One by one, he placed things on the floor. Water, a fruit bar, soft cloth, some kind of energy medicine. Then he stepped back. The child didn't move. Jackson picked up the water bottle, opened the cap, and gently held it near the mother's mouth. She sipped, slowly, weakly, but she drank. The child's eyes filled with tears, but none fell, still silent, still watching. Jackson didn't speak. He knew the child didn't understand his language. Maybe words didn't matter. He pointed to himself. "Jackson," he said softly, then pointed at the child. The child looked confused. Jackson tried again. He touched his chest. "Jackson." He waited. The child blinked, then touched his own chest. "They," he whispered. Jackson smiled. "They," he repeated, a name, a start. For the next few hours, Jackson stayed. He fixed a broken pipe to bring clean water. He placed old metal sheets to block cold wind. He gave medicine to the mother. Gently, carefully. They followed him everywhere, quiet as a shadow. He didn't speak much. But he watched everything Jackson did. His eyes said more than words ever could. Later, Jackson pulled out a broken alien device from his bag, a translator chip. He'd found it in the city ruins days ago. It didn't work, but now he had a reason to fix it. For Thay, for his mother. He worked on it for hours under fading sunlight, hands dirty with wires and circuits. Thay sat nearby, watching. When the device finally lit up with a soft ping, Jackson smiled. "Let's try this." He turned it on and placed it near the alien mother. Her eyes opened slowly. Her voice came through, broken but clear. "Who are you?" Jackson leaned closer. "I'm here to help." She looked at her son. "They will find us." "Who?" Jackson asked. "The hunters, the humans who made us run." "I'm human too," Jackson said. She looked weak, tired, but her eyes held no hate. "Not like them." She told him everything, about the lab, the pain, the escape. She and Thay were part of a secret project. They were not soldiers. They were tests, experiments. She escaped. She ran for her child. She lost everything. But Jackson stood outside again, eyes on the horizon. He felt anger, shame, and something stronger, responsibility. He couldn't walk away now. As night fell again, Jackson heard a sound, a hum in the sky. Not thunder, not nature, engines. He turned fast, looked up, lights, a ship, too close, too fast. They were not alone anymore. He ran back inside. "We have to move," he said quickly. The translator buzzed. The mother nodded slowly. "Take him. I'll come back for you," Jackson promised. She shook her head. "They will kill me, but not him. Not if you run now." Jackson looked at Thay. The boy held his mother's hand tightly. "I won't leave you," Jackson said, but her voice was firm. "You must. He is the future." Jackson looked into Thay's eyes. They were wide, afraid, confused. He couldn't understand the words, but he saw the truth. The plea, the silent cry. Save her. Save me. Save us. Jackson made his choice. He grabbed the backpack, lifted Thay in his arms, and ran into the shadows. Behind them, The stars lit up as the enemy ship began to land. Enemy signals. Smoke rose in the sky as Jackson ran through the ruins with Thay in his arms. The alien child held tight to Jackson's jacket, his small body shaking. Behind them, bright lights flashed across the sky. A ship had landed. Not peaceful. Not friendly. Hunters had arrived. Jackson reached a safer spot, an old train tunnel deep under the city. He placed Thay down and checked his scanner. Beep, beep, beep. 4 red dots. Moving fast. Armed. Human signal codes. "They're tracking us," he muttered. Thay sat against the wall, breathing hard. His eyes glowed slightly in the dark and his chest rose and fell quickly. Jackson knelt beside him. "We're safe for now," he said, "but we can't stay." "Long?" Thay said nothing. He just looked up at Jackson, trusting him completely now. Jackson had never felt this kind of responsibility before. He needed help. He pulled out his communicator and tried sending a signal to an old friend, Rena, an ex-soldier turned smuggler. "Rena, if you hear this, I need extraction. 1 alien child, 1 injured female. Hostile contact, human units, planet Zareth 5. No response." "Come on." He hit the device. Static. Meanwhile, above the city, the hunter ship opened. Black armored figures stepped out. Human voices, cold, robotic. "Tracker says the test subject is nearby. Orders are to retrieve or terminate." Their boots crushed the dust of a dead world. They didn't care who lived or died, they just followed orders. Back in the tunnel, Jackson showed Thay a map on his scanner. "Your mother is here," he pointed. "We need to go back for her. But we have to be smart." Thay looked scared. She said, "Not to return?" The translator buzzed. Jackson nodded slowly. "She said that to protect you. But we don't leave family behind." He stood up and reached into his pack. He pulled out a small weapon, a stun blaster. Low power, but better than nothing. "You stay here. Hidden. Don't move." They grabbed Jackson's hand. His small fingers held tight. "Come back." Jackson looked into the boy's eyes. "I promise." Jackson moved through the ruins like a shadow. Fast, silent, focused. He avoided the open streets, used broken rooftops, climbed over walls, but the hunters were already spreading. One of them turned. Movement. South quadrant. They moved. Jackson reached the shelter. The alien mother was still inside, pale, barely breathing. He rushed to her side. "We have to go, they're here." She opened her eyes. "My son? He's safe, but not for long. I need to move you now." She nodded weakly. He lifted her carefully, supporting her with a blanket and straps. Suddenly, noise. Outside. Voices. Too close. Jackson carried her out the back, through a side alley. He ducked low, holding her tight, moving fast, but one hunter spotted them. "Target located." Laser fire. Jackson jumped behind a wall. "Damn it!" He returned fire, one quick shot. The stun bolt hit the wall, blinding light for a second. Enough to run. He ran with her through the burning streets, over cracked pavement, through smoke and memory. This planet used to be full of life. Now it was only war. He reached the tunnel. Thea was there, waiting, just as told. When he saw his mother, he ran to her. She smiled weakly, touching his face. "You're safe." Jackson put her down gently. Then he turned back. "We can't stay. They'll follow my signal." He checked the communicator again. Ping. Incoming message. "Jackson, this is Rena. I got your signal. 1 pickup, 30 minutes, bring flares." Jackson smiled. Hope. But 30 minutes was a long time in war, and the hunters were closing in. The truth revealed. The sky above Zareth 5 burned orange as the last sun dipped behind the shattered towers. The wind howled through empty streets and firelight danced on the walls of the tunnel, where Jackson, Thay, and his mother now hid. They had 20 minutes left. 20 minutes before Rena's ship arrived. Maybe. Jackson sat near the tunnel entrance watching for movement. The blaster rested in his lap, but his mind was elsewhere. Behind him, the mother coughed weakly. She was fading. He turned and walked back to her side. They sat holding her hand. His glowing eyes looked up, tired, worried, but calm. Jackson knelt. "We'll be out soon, just hang on." The translator device buzzed softly. The mother's voice came through, slow, broken, but clear. "Why, are you helping us?" Jackson didn't speak at first. He looked at the ground. Then he said, "Because you're not just alien. You're people. You matter." She looked at him carefully. "You don't know what they did." "Tell me," Jackson said. She closed her eyes, then began to speak. "We were taken, not rescued, not protected, taken." "From where?" "Our world. Peaceful, quiet. We lived under light forests. We had no weapons, no need for them. And humans came? Yes, they called it research. They took the young, tested on us, changed our DNA, forced growth, pain, fear." Jackson felt his throat tighten. "Why?" "To build soldiers. Perfect, loyal, fast. But our minds stayed free. We did not break." She coughed again. Her hand trembled. "I escaped with Thay. He was born inside their labs. Never saw sunlight until we ran." Jackson looked at Thay. The boy stared down, quiet, still. He had known only cages, fear, and running. Jackson stood. His hands formed fists. "I didn't know. I swear to you, not all humans are like that." She nodded slowly. "You are different. That is why I trusted you." A tear rolled down her cheek. "But they will come. For him, they never stop." Jackson's mind raced. What kind of monsters used children as weapons? What kind of human could do that? And what kind of human would stop it? He made a choice. "I'll protect him, whatever it takes." She looked into his eyes. "Promise me, if I don't survive, he lives free. He is not a weapon. He is just my son." Jackson nodded. "I promise." Just then, a sound. Metal against stone. Boots. Voices. The tunnel shook. The hunters had found them. Jackson jumped up, blaster ready. He pushed Thay and his mother deeper into the tunnel. "Hide! Stay low!" He ran to the entrance. Laser fire cracked through the air. Jackson returned fire, ducking behind a metal pillar. Sparks flew, dust rose. He took a deep breath. "Come on, Rena." Minutes passed like hours. Jackson kept them back, barely. One hunter charged. Jackson fired. The hunter dropped. But more came behind. Suddenly, a roar above. A ship. Rena's ship. It flew low and fast, firing warning shots. Boom! The tunnel entrance collapsed, cutting off the hunters. The ship hovered above. Side hatch open. "Jackson, get in!" Rena's voice echoed. He grabbed Thay and helped the mother to her feet. They climbed into the ship as it lifted away. Inside, the mother collapsed. They cried out. Jackson held him close. "We're safe. We made it." But when he looked back at the ground below, at the burning city, the collapsed tunnel, the shadows chasing them, he knew the truth. This wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. The escape plan. The stars above flickered like cold fire. Rena's ship glided through space, silent, fast, almost invisible. It had no name, no flag, just scars. Inside, the lights were dim. The air smelled like metal and old battles. Jackson stood at the window, arms crossed. Behind him, Thay sat next to his sleeping mother. Her breathing was soft. Too soft. She didn't have much time left. Rena entered the cockpit. She was tall, sharp, and carried a laser pistol like it was part of her arm. "That kid," she said, nodding toward Thay. "He's valuable, you know that, right?" Jackson didn't move. "He's not for sale." Didn't say he was, but others will think so. Hunters, warlords, corrupt labs, all of them will come. Then we disappear. Rena raised an eyebrow. Disappear? You're talking ghost-level vanish. You need new IDs, new biology scans, off-grid shelter, tech blockers, even retina hacks. Jackson turned. Can you do it? She smiled slightly. Not alone. But I know someone who can. A day passed in silence. They barely spoke. His eyes stayed on his mother. He didn't eat much, didn't cry, but he drew pictures. Simple lines, on a datapad, a tree, a sun, a home, things he had never seen. Jackson sat beside him. What's this one? He asked. They touched the drawing. It's where I want to live one day. Jackson felt something break inside. He had to make that future real. Rena landed the ship on a shadow moon called Darvox 9, a place where old tech went to rot and criminals came to hide. The air smelled like oil and rust. They met the contact in a dark corner of a scrapyard. A hunched figure stepped out, half man, half machine. His voice glitched as he spoke. You brought trouble. We brought credits, Rena said, tossing a bag. What do you want? Erase a child. From every scanner, every system, every database. He never existed. The machine man stared. At they. Human-made, alien-born. Can you do it? Jackson asked. I can make him vanish. But nothing's free. You got paid. I want something else, a favor. Jackson's jaw tightened. What kind of favor? When the day comes, I'll call you, and you say yes. A long silence. Then Jackson said, Deal. The next few hours were chaos. Machines scanned they. Rena hacked systems. Jackson stood guard with a blaster in hand. They erased fingerprints, changed bone markers, wiped DNA tags. The child known as they was dying in the system and being reborn. When it was done, the machine man handed Jackson a small data chip. This is his new life. Use it wisely, lose it, and he's lost. Jackson looked at the chip like it was made of gold. Then he looked at Thay. You're safe now. But Thay didn't smile. What about my mother? They rushed back to the ship. Too late. She was slipping away. Her breathing slowed. Her eyes opened one last time. She reached out, weak fingers touching Thay's face. Be free. Then she was gone. No sound. Just silence. They cried for the first time. Not loud, not wild. Just soft tears that ran down his glowing cheeks. Jackson held him close. Later that night, Jackson buried her on Darvox 9, under a tree made of broken wires and steel. It was ugly, but it was hers. They stood beside the grave. They can't find us now? Jackson shook his head. No, you're gone to them. Just a memory. What am I now? Jackson placed a hand on his shoulder. You're free, and you're not alone. But far away, on a distant human outpost, a new signal lit up. Subject TH-13 missing. Possible assist by human rogue. Initiate full recovery program. They were coming. Again. Fire in the sky. It started with a light in the sky. A single red spark, far above Darvox 9's junkyard moon. Jackson saw it first. He stood on the ship's loading ramp, holding a mug of hot synth coffee, half asleep. He looked up and froze. No stars move like that. He dropped the mug. Alarm screamed inside the ship. Rena ran to the cockpit. Incoming. No ID, no radio. She hit a switch. The ship's shields powered up. Jackson burst in. It's them, the hunters. Rena didn't ask how he knew. She saw it in his face. Thay was in the back room, drawing again. He looked up as the ship shook from an engine pulse in the sky. Is it happening again? He asked softly. Jackson knelt beside him. Yes, but this time, we fight back. Outside, the enemy ship broke through the clouds. It wasn't small. It wasn't stealthy. It wanted to be seen. Big, black, brutal. It had opened its doors and dropped machines, drones, Metal creatures with red eyes and claws that sliced through walls. They didn't knock. They ripped. Rena shouted from the controls. "We can't take off, they're jamming the launch." Jackson ran to the back, grabbing weapons, gear, anything useful. "Then we fight our way to space." The ground shook. Drones landed. One smashed through the roof. Jackson shot it mid-fall. Boom, sparks flew. "They, stay behind me." The boy nodded, holding a small metal box, his mother's memory chip. He wouldn't let it go. The team fought their way outside. Smoke filled the scrapyard. Fire licked the walls. Old ships exploded like broken toys. Rena fired her rifle with calm focus. Jackson moved like lightning, protecting, shooting, running. They reached the far wall, an old launch tube, a straight path to the upper atmosphere. Rena grinned. "We load the emergency shuttle, it's our only shot." "How fast?" Jackson asked. 10 seconds of air, no shielding, we'll burn." "We'll survive." They loaded Thay first, then the memory chip, then the last charge pack. Jackson looked back. Drones poured in from the sky like metal rain. No time. He jumped in and hit the launch. Whoosh! The shuttle fired out of the tube like a bullet. Fire wrapped around them. They screamed. But Jackson held him close. "We're okay, just hold on." The stars spun. The sky cracked open, and they broke free. Rena shouted from the front. "Shields failing. Engines overheating. Just hold—" Boom! A drone hitched to the back exploded. The shuttle flipped. Jackson slammed into the wall. Everything went dark. When he woke up, they were floating. The emergency lights blinked. Rena was breathing, barely conscious. Thay was crying softly. They were alive. But space was silent, and the big ship was still behind them. Jackson pulled himself up, looked out the window. "They're still chasing us." He grabbed the manual controls. "I'm taking us into the asteroid belt." Rena coughed. "Are you crazy?" "No, just desperate." He flew toward the chaos of rocks and debris. The belt was thick, wild, unpredictable, the perfect hiding place, or the perfect grave. The hunter ship followed. They launched more drones. Jackson dodged, weaved, twisted through the spinning rocks. One drone crashed into an asteroid. Another clipped their wing. But Jackson didn't stop. He pushed harder. "Come on, just a little more." Then, silence. They were through. No drones, no hunter ship. Just stars. Just peace. For now. He looked out the window. "Are we safe now?" Jackson didn't answer right away. Then he said, "No one is ever truly safe. But we're free." Humanity Rises space was quiet. Jackson stared out the window of a small orbit station above a neutral planet. Below, blue clouds swirled over endless forests, a place untouched by war. Behind him, Thay slept peacefully for the first time in days. No alarms, no running, no fear, just peace. But Jackson knew peace never lasted, not unless someone fought for it. He turned as Rena walked in. "You sure about this?" she asked. Jackson nodded. "They tried to erase him. I won't let that happen. Once you speak, there's no going back." "Good." Jackson stepped into the main chamber. It wasn't a big room, just a camera, a signal hub, and a live galactic feed. He looked into the lens and started recording. "My name is Jackson Holt. I'm a human, a soldier, a survivor. I was part of the Exploration Corps. I believed in our mission. I believed we were helping others. I was wrong." He paused, his voice trembled, but only for a second. "I met a boy named Thay. He is not human, but he was born in a human lab. We created him, not to protect, not to teach, not to love. We made him to fight, to obey, to die young. His mother escaped with him. She gave her life so he could live. He is not a weapon. He is a child." Jackson leaned closer. "If you are watching this, and you are human, ask yourself, what does it mean to be human? Is it power, or is it compassion? Is it control, or is it the courage to say this is wrong? He held up the memory chip, the one that held Thay's mother's last words. This is her story. I'm sending it to every free system, every government, every media stream. If you hide this, you are part of the problem. But if you share it, if you listen, you help something bigger than war. You help humanity rise. He ended the recording. Hit send. And the truth was out. Across systems, across sectors, across stars. No more hiding. A day later, Jackson walked with Thay through the forests of the neutral world. It smelled like fresh rain and green life. Thay pointed at a tree. Is that real? Jackson smiled. Yeah, you can touch it. Thay reached out, his fingers brushing the rough bark. He laughed, a small, pure sound. It was the first time he had ever touched nature. As they walked, a voice called out from a small village ahead. Children played. Families watched curiously. A woman stepped forward. Not human, not alien, just kind. We saw your message, she said. You're welcome here. Jackson bowed his head. Thank you. We don't care what species he is, the woman added. We care that he's a child and he's not alone anymore. They looked up at Jackson. What happens now? Jackson thought for a moment, then said, Now, we live. Far away on a dark world, the ones who created Thay watched the broadcast. Some turned it off. Some were afraid. But others, they listened and whispered, maybe we were wrong. Jackson's log. Final entry. We came to the stars thinking we were the masters. But the stars don't need masters. They need guardians. Maybe Thay isn't just the future of aliens. Maybe he's the future of us all.